my own person. That's what drives me. I've never wanted to be like another photographer. I've never wanted to follow a path of someone else. I've always wanted to follow my own path or create a path for myself. That's been a challenge, yes, because I'm outside of the norm. I never wanted to be ordinary, but I always wanted to be extraordinary, and that's what drives me. My career began actually many years back. I was working at a local department store right after high school, and I wanted to learn photography. I just had this passion inside of me to learn photography, but I couldn't afford a camera, and I was a very independent kid, so I didn't want to ask my parents for money to buy one. So when I got my little paycheck, I went and bought one that happened to be on clearance. It was only 35 bucks. That was my first camera. Began taking pictures of people, giving them away for free, just to build a business. You know, I'm like, how am I going to get clients, you know? So I started doing that, and then a lot of times people would ask me, do you work in a studio? And I would always get kind of shy when they would say that because I'd never had studio experience. It was just what I learned through trial and error of using the camera. So I thought to myself, I need to work at a studio somewhere. So I went and applied at a local chain, and they turned me down. And I was really disappointed because photography was all that I had ever wanted to do at that particular time in my life. And I thought about it for a minute. I said, you know what? Let me try again. I went back again. Maybe 3 months later, they turned me down again. So needless to say, I was beginning to feel hopeless. I'm like, nobody's gonna hire me as a photographer. You know, I went through that whole thing. Time passed. I said, okay, let me go again. I just didn't give up. You know, I'm like, y'all gonna hire me. Somebody gonna hire me. And so I went back a third time, and actually I made it the third time around. And I always tell that story so that people will know the importance of fighting for what you want and not giving up on your dream. Here we go, Picklehead. 1, 2, and 3. All right. I called you what? My ambition is never to be like anyone, but to be a trailblazer and to set a standards that others will follow. And one thing that I've learned is that people will not always understand your art, but as long as you understand your art, that's what's important. So I'm very ambitious when it comes to creating projects. So I began shooting this book that was all about who would later become our first African-American president. And in the process of doing that, people didn't understand it. And they would ask, you know, why are you doing a book about President Barack Obama? Because he's not even the president. And I'm like, I can't tell you why. I just know that it's in my spirit to do this. He later became the first African-American president of the United States. That, for me, was huge. And I wanted to honor the first African-American president by creating this book entitled In My Lifetime that now sits in the White House, in the Texas Southern Library, HCC Library, and soon the Gregory Lincoln Library. The Freedmanstown Project was something that was really in my heart. In 2007, I got a call from the Historic Society to photograph the bricks that are being threatened right now to be removed. And at that time, I didn't have the wherewithal to actually shoot that project. So I passed on it because I don't want to take a job just to get money if I can't do an adequate job. So I told them I would not be able to do it. Well, fast forward to 2014, I went to one of the rallies that was out there in Freedmanstown. And during that rally, I was inspired to create a project about Freedmanstown. So many people don't even know that Texas Southern University was actually born out of Freedmanstown. A lot of people don't know that Yates High School was born out of Freedmanstown. A lot of people don't know that Booker T. Washington High School was born out of Freedmanstown. There were so many things that happened in Freedmanstown that people have no clue about. And so I want to educate them on this thing because it's our history. So I began doing the Freedmanstown Project that it consisted of the bricks. So most of the images that you'll see will be of the bricks in Freedmanstown. And I want to educate, motivate, and inspire people. I want them to learn more about history because so many people don't know about the history of Freedmanstown. So many people don't know that after the Emancipation Proclamation, the slaves were set free in that area and they were building homes and they made it a viable community for themselves. Well, those bricks still exist today, but so much other stuff in that community is no longer in existence because it's been torn down or big developers have bought it and built townhomes and things like that. I wanted to make sure that I capture what's left of Freedmanstown for the kids that are coming up behind us, so that they can have a look at what history was for the African American people here in the city of Houston in Freedmanstown, because it's slowly just being torn apart. And that's important to me. I want that to be a part of my legacy.